This is my review of the ROG Harpe ACE gaming mouse in 2025. I've been using this mouse for a good few months now, so I thought I'd give my opinions on it and give the information for anyone else that might be considering this mouse in 2025. In the box, it comes with a few accessories, the USB-C cable, dongle extender, and the dongle itself. Now, I've never actually used this cable. It's been mediocre at best. There's no tilt in the USB-C port, and the cable itself is quite rigid and stiff, so I'd recommend using a different cable if you've got one. It's a large mouse with dimensions shown on screen and a moderate back hump with an ever so slight outward flare towards the front of the mouse. I'm showing the profile of the mouse on the screen now as well to give a good idea of the proportions of the mouse, and it utilizes the ROG micro switch mechanicals and a TTC gold encoder of 12mm. Here's the sound test for the buttons. Overall, the quality is really good in both the mouse clicks and the overall build of the mouse. The left and right click are quite stiff, but it's a nice and crisp actuation of the switches. I found the shape of this mouse to be fairly similar to the Zowie S1 and the Lethal Gaming Gear LA1 as well, so if you like those shapes then you'll definitely like this mouse as well. And the weight comes in at 54 grams, which is the same as advertised, with no bending or flex of the mouse either. Now getting into the performance of the mouse, it uses the ROG Aimpoint optical sensor, which has a max DPI of 36,000 and a polling rate of 1000 Hz. It does have a competition mode which you can activate in their software to boost performance, but it does not natively support 8K polling. ROG do sell an external adapter you can buy that does add 8K functionality to the mouse though. I've only ever used the mouse in the 1K Hz with competition mode active, and there's been no complaints with the performance of the mouse. There's been no sensor deviation and no desynchronization of the sensor that I've found either in games or through testing. And the click latency I've found is 0.4 milliseconds wired and 0.8 milliseconds wireless, which is still a very good competitive click latency. The sensor has a tracking speed of 650 IPS and an acceleration of 50 grams. Overall, I've been really impressed with the mouse. The performance has been very good, and I've had no issues or trouble with it in games. The coating is nice and grippy, however it is quite a rough feeling texture. It's not quite as sort of silky or ice type as some of the others that you get on such as like the Death Adder V3 Pro, and not quite as good as some of the other offerings from companies such as Endgame Gear. The only downside I've noticed through my use of the mouse is the software. So it uses the ROG AimLab, which requires a full download from their website and includes a fairly kind of bloated software. And ideally I would avoid having to download software themselves. I much prefer web drivers, but this is actually not going to be an issue coming up soon, with ROG beta testing their GearLink WebDriver at the moment, and when that does come out it will support this mouse. Sort through all of the settings and everything like that online without having to download any software, and the mouse itself will be fully supported on that new WebDriver. Battery life has also been a non-issue with this mouse. I found that I got about 60 hours of actual use on 1 kHz with the performance mode and the illumination on. It was advertised for 99 hours over Bluetooth and 90 hours over 2.4 GHz. The mouse does also support the Bluetooth connection as well as wired and wireless, so you do get that tri-mode connectivity, which is very handy for flexibility of connecting to devices. The mouse is priced RRP at £99.99. However, I managed to pick this up for £69.95, which is a much better deal, and currently this goes for £89.99 on Amazon in the UK. I think if you manage to get this on sale, then it is a worthy pickup, especially with the potential for 8K polling and the future support of the WebDriver. ROG do also sell their extreme version of this mouse, which is a full carbon fibre composite body, but does increase the price to over £250, which in my opinion is just not worth that price tag. The weight of this mouse is already low, coming in at 54 grams, and even with their future release coming soon that's been teased for the Harpe ACE 2, I also think that this mouse, still in 2025, is a great pickup and isn't going to be replaced by the second version that will release 2026. The offerings of the new mouse are not substantial over the existing Harpe ACE, and with this mouse you do also get the optimizations for AimLab. However, I've left this towards the end of the video to mention, as it's not something that I've used and it's not something that I see myself or perhaps many people actually using. It's more of an extra gimmicky feature as opposed to key selling point for this mouse. Great grip, it has great mouse clicks, and the sensor performance is still very top tier. Even amongst newer offerings, I think the performance and sensor wise with mice coming into this year, there's not been that much advancement over the 3395 and 3950 sensor implementations.